Sounds straight. Welcome to South End supporters of St. Louis City SC podcast. Eric Cole alongside the Monday morning center back Dave Wyckoff. And on this one, we're going to be breaking down City's smash and grab draw as they pulled one out late against New York City FC. We'll talk on our thoughts on the game, thoughts on the night, and everything like that. And then a little bit later into the show, we'll answer your South End submissions. Before all that, Dave, how are we doing this evening? Dave, afternoon?
Afternoon. Yeah, a little different. Moving target, recording time, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. How am I feeling about that? About Saturday? It feels kind of dirty, right? That's a dirty point. I guess you'll take it on the road against a team that's pretty good so far this year. I wasn't happy in the moment. I can tell you that much. We'll get more into that. But yeah, I guess you can't really complain too much about it. But yeah, man, how was your Easter with the girls?
Yeah, so we did it Saturday, just since I work on Sundays all the time, so which kind of was a bummer in the fact that Sunday ended up being beautiful and we could have easily done the Easter egg hunt. But yeah, we had family over to our house and we had my family, her family, and then we actually had a friend of Delaney's come over as well. And when you're trying to hide eggs within a small house, you got to get, because they're at that age where you can get a little clever, but not overly clever, because then you're not going to find
You'll
eggs.
never
They're
find
not
it.
going to find them. And then the other problem is every year I do the same thing. I'm always like, all right. So me and my brother, we were distributing out the eggs while they were like in one room, and then it was like, all right, let's make sure we count the eggs so we know how much they need to find. And then of course he comes back and I'm like, all right, I'm on 23, and he's like, I think I'm on 12 or 15. I'm like, well, dude, like, you're not even at that high of a number yet. But one nice thing about at least doing it inside was every year for like the next 2 or 3 weeks when I'm cutting the grass, I find at least 2 or 3 eggs with the lawnmower blades. So at least I don't have to worry about that this year. But overall, Easter, yeah, it was nice. Just unfortunate now that there's 2 buckets of candy just sitting on our kitchen counter that I have to just try and put horse blinders on every time that I walk by them, and just try and zone out. Normally on the holidays, I'm like telling people, like almost like threatening my brother, being like, "You're taking this stuff with you. Like it's not staying in my house." And this year he got out a little less scathed this time, but overall Easter was good. How about you?
Yeah, but good. But before I go into ours, I told Katie today I have a major Skittle problem, like major. Like
Yeah.
the kids got like a jar of Skittles. It's like a half gallon of
Yeah,
Skittles.
when you get over bag as a description, you're in trouble with that.
So every time I go by it, I take a handful. And it's like I have a handful staring at me right here. And thankfully, I have the world's most sensitive microphone, and I don't want people to have to listen to me eat Skittles. But yeah,
Are
it's a
they
problem.
Regular Skittles, or do you venture into the sour or any of those other?
I like them all, but these are
yeah.
regular. And then we also have Starburst jelly beans, which are also just should be criminal. Like it's like crack. Not to mention the Nerds gummy clusters. Like it's a problem in this house, man. How are you supposed to like?
Yeah, where I realized candy was getting to a problem is when the bag said family size or share bag, and you're like, I've put down 2 bags by myself.
Yeah.
And that's where it's like,
This isn't big enough to share. I'm taking this down myself.
No, what do you? Yeah.
No, Easter. So you and I talked before the show. My family was on a spring break trip. We didn't go because Zoe had a thing last weekend, so it was a weird time overlap. But it was just the 4 of us, and we actually went to see the Mario Galaxy movie, which totally recommend for anybody. You don't even have to have kids. It's strong flick, and there's some good. Pun intended Easter eggs in there for the olds, for the millennials in there that grew up playing the OG Mario. There's Mario 1, 2, and 3 references. There's kart references. So yes, they really hit. I think they hit pretty much all the games, including the more modern ones. So
That's cool.
Oh, it was good. The only Easter egg hunt I participated in was on was it Wednesday? Yeah, so or Thursday. Was it Wednesday? It was yeah, Thursday. So Thursday, the 6-1 Father McGivney Griffin soccer team wanted to do a team bonding and Easter egg hunt event. So we did that at Dross Park in Maryville. Your boy Turk and I hid 185 eggs in the park. And we think they found all of them, but we're not totally sure. We're going to go back over and look for all of them, but that was good stuff. So, but yeah, and then Saturday was a big. It's always a big build up when you watch a full day of FA Cup and then Bundesliga, and then you get to the MLS and it's so disappointing. The
Yeah,
quality.
yeah.
Yeah, like it is what it is, but the quality drop off is so precipitous.
I think that's almost going to be what's going to be worse about them switching into the new winter schedule is then you literally have a full day of all those leagues, and then you finish it off with that, and the comparison is going to look, a little bit night and day. Before we do get into that game, couple things you said that I want to point out. First off, what I have enjoyed now with my kids and going back and rewatching Disney movies, and I was actually saying this to my wife the other day when we were watching something with the kids, is how fun it is almost rewatching them as an adult and picking up on a lot of like jokes or things that were always targeted towards like the parents that took the kids that you just never got as a kid, and now you get them as an adult and being like, oh man, I didn't know they like Disney does a pretty good job about like trying to throw some little things in there that entertain the adults. And then last thing, Easter specific, what is your favorite candy? Like Easter specific, like you don't really see it outside. Like Skittles, you were talking about Skittles, like you see those, yearly. What do you have like a specific Easter only thing? Is that a Reese's? Yeah, the
This
Reese's egg.
is this
Oh, the
is
Twix egg.
this is a
Yes.
Twix egg, and it has supplanted the Reese's egg for me. The Twix egg has supplanted the Reese's egg.
Yeah, well, speaking of like embarrassment, is where I realized those like I had a candy problem a couple years ago was when I was like directly going to the self checkout. They probably thought I was trying to rob the place, but I wanted to hide it. Is the giant Twix eggs that they sell that are like this big? I was like getting those and just being so ashamed that it was like I'm going straight to self checkout, beeping and getting out of here, like as if I've bought something illegal. But I was just like, I can't let people see me carrying this out of there. Like that
It's
is just
embarrassing.
terrible.
The embarrassment.
For
Don't
me,
be
it's those,
ashamed.
anything Cadbury, man. Cadbury does
Yeah.
that. Like but the problem is like with those mini eggs especially, is if you get that bag, I relate it to like Italian food. Is you wolf it down, it's so good, and then the second you stop, it's like your stomach just starts expanding. That chocolate is so rich and thick that like after you go down, all of a sudden you're like, oh, every tooth in my mouth hurts, and I'm probably gonna
Yeah.
throw up within a couple seconds. Like
Yeah,
it just
and the
comes on
shame
so
sets
strong.
in. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Where you said maybe we should feel a little bit of shame. I don't know. We'll see how we feel about that. Is yes, City pull one out late against New York City FC. I would say definitely probably shame within that first half. I would say that first half was just
Yeah, gosh, man.
not good on City's part throughout the night. A couple things that I kind of noticed, and I'll see if you kind of saw the same sort of deal, is a lot of giveaways between Durkin and Edelman on the night, where we've seen a little bit of consistency with those two this year as far as distribution. That's where I felt like a lot of New York's chances were coming as far as like we just felt like, or it felt like to me, we just weren't ever getting out of our half. It would like we'd maybe win over possession, but give it right back to them, and it was just this constant like allowing New York to possess the ball, whereas we were really trying to under DeMay improve that sort of possession and holding onto the ball and doing better as far as that goes. It felt like every time we would kind of like make a little interception or do whatever, there was just a turnover, and a lot of times it seemed like it was coming between those two, which was really dangerous because where New York was getting a lot of their chances throughout the night, it seemed like was through the channels between the center backs on the night. And one thing that I noticed where a lot of their chances came, strong chances, and then it kind of opened my eyes to a little bit earlier in this year. It seems like a lot of times either Padelford, and it was a lot of Padelford on the night, Povera on the night, or Orozco occasionally, they would try and step up into like a striker withdrawing, checking back to the ball. And when they would step up, Timo would just still hold that position. He wouldn't shift over to where we were almost like a back four at that point, which would allow just a huge gap through the channel. And then he's just a little slower coming over to cut off that chance. So if Povara or Orozco would step, that just left a huge gap. And then if nobody picks up that space, it just seemed like a simple connecting pass into that space with a shot on goal because, like I said, Timo was a little slow getting over on the night. So it just really felt like between those two things, especially within that first half and chances later on in the game, you're watching this going, oh, man, this could be a bad night for us going forward. We saw, once again, late subs. It seemed to kind of change things around. But just up until kind of we saw a little bit of a shift later in the game, what was the big glaring thing that you were noticing as far as City goes?
This lack of energy. That's what it is. It's you run the same lineup out there week after week, and there's just a startling lack of like energy from the collective. Like Betcher's going to be Betcher. He's always going to run like he runs, but I thought that he was running without purpose, if that makes any sense. A lot of his touches were really like without purpose too. And this microphone just sucks. I cannot get a good. So I thought that there was no connection between him and a little between him and Hartle, but absolutely none between him and Cordova. Like I have not seen it yet with Cordova, man. I don't get it. I don't get what his strengths are supposed to be. He was out on the right, which I thought was interesting because he's not a left-footed player. So it wasn't like he was coming in off the right. It just weird. But overall, it's just like collective energy, number one. I mean, I think I texted you guys, like, this is not good. It was not good. Like, there was just nothing there. And just the overall disconnect between your three lines. Like, I think you made a good point that, the channels were where New York was really opening the game up, but they made it really tough, and City would not adapt. Like City wants to work through the middle of the field. With the ball, it's very clear that they're trying to be narrow and play through Edelman and play through Durkin, which I don't understand, but that's beside the point. And New York dropped their center attacking mid with their sixes, and the forward was the one pressing. There were times when you looked up and Timo would have the ball, and Timo's not a good distributor of the ball. Let's just go ahead and say that he's just not. He's average to below average. But he wants to force that pass through the middle, and it's not there. And what other option does he have? Swing it to the left, swing it to the right. And then I wouldn't say that Orozco or Pilar are good distributors of the ball either. So what you end up with is couple of knocks back and forth. New York gradually ratchets up the pressure, and you end up a giveaway. I mean, or just a hopeful long ball. So, just overall, just collective energy and movement. And I think you can chalk that up to running that same lineup out there. I mean, you think, and we'll get into, tactically like how the subs work, but like you think what came off the bench and the pace and the creativity and just the overall like youthful enthusiasm that they brought in off the bench to change that game. Why not give those guys a chance for the first 60? I don't understand it. I think it looked like a very Melbergian effort, but without without the really solid defense, to be honest.
Yeah. I thought, going back to Betch, while he's always going to give you effort, I just didn't find anything really was working through him on the night, and that was just again, not for the lack of effort. I just didn't think he was a little bit off. And then Cordova, I mean, you could count on one hand maybe the amount of times you even heard his name, saw him on the ball. He just really was missing. And then Hartle, it felt like early on was trying to maybe do a little bit too much, lost possession a couple times, but he seemed to he had more chances rewatching it back than I think we realized. They weren't really full-hearted chances. It was just pretty, I would say, almost comfortable saves from Freeze, but kind of that like glorified keeper save where he makes it look a little bit more emphatic than maybe what the save was. So I do think Hartle was again, it's just tough when you have him out on the wing. I feel like a lot of times if we can't shift that ball out to him over on that side, he can go missing in games at times, and that's not what you want. With your star player really at this point. When it comes to DeMay, do you think it's a more of a this is my system and I'm going to try and get it to work, almost like a Melbergian style, like you were saying, or do you think it being like his? I'm counting it as his first real time in the head position. I know he's done interim stuff and that, but like his first real time, he's almost a little hesitant to go for it. I guess you could say like full on go for it. Especially on the road with like the kids and putting in just a full on attack style. Which way do you think it is with when it comes to DeMay? Do you think it's like he sees this system as it's going to work, it's just going to take a while, and eventually we'll get that crack, and eventually it'll go through? Or do you think it is like he's just maybe a little hesitant on opening the gates and really kind of going for it?
I can't tell. I honestly have no. I don't know because you can't. You can't. I don't know. And maybe he sees something like I'm not always right, right? Like we watch the game our own ways. Is like, so I'm learning a lot from coaching now. Is like, you could talk to five different people who watch one game from a coach's perspective, and they'd have five different takes on how everything went. But I don't know a rational person that could look at that effort by that lineup and say, "Oh yeah, that's something you should run out again." And I would say that out of the handful of games, that's been your lineup, and that's kind of the effort that you've gotten out of them. So yeah, I don't know. We were having the same conversation last year about how some of these guys that are coming off the bench, Critch talked a lot about, I'm gonna play guys that earn their opportunity in training, and I'm getting the same vibe. Like I don't know if Makai Joyner is just not a good practice player. I don't know, if Sangbin has fallen off in training, but I do know that I would rather see that pace and that energy than watching Santos and Wallum swing the ball back and forth and reviews to try to take the end line. So I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
I'm at a loss.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this a little earlier in the year when it came to like why aren't we seeing the Celios and the Joiners and that type of stuff. Obviously, we didn't see Celio because the news came out a little bit earlier in the week that the prior week in the off week he had on a non-contact ACL tear, so he will be out for the rest of the season. We kind of joked, just saying I don't know what they are doing in trainings. I said that late week trainings they should just be playing FIFA and watching Premier League or something, because at this point, man, the amount of training injuries that we have. I know it's non-contact, that can happen to any time, but I know you're out without. But he did earlier in the season say like, I play the people that buy into the system and show me in training. He puts a lot of emphasis on in training. And I know Makai Joyner also was on youth national duty, but I don't know if he got that many minutes to where he felt like he needed to rest him. McSorley, every time he's come on, he's brought you a lot of energy and, a lot of chances as well throughout the time. Like you said, Sang Bin. But then you're also having these players that aren't showing you a lot. You're right. It's like, what is going on in training? But it's interesting, the timing on this, because there's a big discussion going on surrounded with your team with Chelsea right now, because you guys have had some players come out and say some things in the media that, obviously I don't think you should ever really be saying anything about admiring or wanting to play for another team when you are under contract with the team. I just don't really agree with that. But one of your players, they said he was going to be, suspended for 2 games for statements he made. And a lot of pundits, there's a back and forth right now of, yeah, it's not right on what he did, but how are you not going to play your best player or one of your best players in these important games coming up? And where do you as a coach take a stand, and where do you, ease on that stand? And it's starting to get to, with DeMay, it's like, well, how much, I know training is super important and it's emphasis on that, but at the end of the day, results in the game are what matters. And if these guys are coming in there and showing you a lot of life and showing you a lot of chances and showing this when others aren't in this game time, at what point do you start putting game time minutes a little bit more of an emphasis than training time minutes,
Yeah. I'm pro accountability. So accountability for your words and actions, like absolutely. But at some point, you know, it's all fun and games to call this thing like a project and a rebuild and you know whatever the hell you want to call it. 90% of the fans don't give a shit about that. They want to see results, and I would count myself in that. Like, don't tell me about the labor pains. Just show me the baby. Like, I'm tired of I'm tired of mediocrity, and if that means that you play the better player who might not be giving that extra 2% in training, then first of all, your player pool is not good enough, you know, and go ahead and get results. And they did. I think despite the game plan and despite the tactics, they got a result that they didn't earn. But no, I don't know. It's very frustrating. I feel like, you know, last year, the first, what was it? Was it for the first 4 games? They didn't lose or something like that. Like it was like 1 win and like 3 draws or something weird like that. And we just kept saying like, oh yeah, they're on an unbeaten streak. And I remember thinking at the time, like, man, like I think that these draws are masking a bigger problem here. And you know, this is a tough stretch. I mean, let's talk about the other thing. This has been a really tough scheduling start for this team. Like really tough. Like you had Seattle at home. You went out to LAFC. Your home opener against Charlotte. That's a crapshoot, right? That's a coin toss. And now you have to go to NYC. Now you come home. You have to go to Dallas. You come home again. Then you go out to Seattle again. Like that's a brutal start. It really is for a team that is, you know, kind of bereft of big name talent. But I don't think that means that you just throw out these, you know, veterans that really haven't shown you anything other than they can exist. They can occupy a spot. And, you know, something has to change. Something has to improve. Because again, we're not even in May yet, and we're already talking about losing the casual interest, and you can't do that, man. There's too much coming up. You've got this whole season, you've got the shortened season coming up, you know, in the spring, and then you've got where you're going to start competing with the fall sports. Like you cannot shit the bed over these next 2 seasons. You've got to put a compelling and or competitive team on the field that can go out and get a result home or away any day. And the casual fan base, even the hardcore fan base, is not going to tolerate consistent mediocrity. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah. And then there's also just a lot of confusion as to, you know, talking about some of the signings. Yeah, we've seen a lot of them, and some of them made good, and some of them have shown positives here. But then you're also wondering, like, where are the falls? Where are?
Oh my God! You know, where are gigantic Senegalese center backs?
Yeah,
somebody tell me where they are.
Yeah, you texted. You were like something about Timo's pace or something like that, and you were like, if only we had 2 towering, flying Senegalese center backs that could play. And I was like, Dave, that is silly. Don't even say. Why would you suggest something like that? But it is like you just kind of. There's just a confusion on. You really hype these guys up, and they were going to be probably our center backs going forward. Do they not fit your system? Is that where they're not going into play? Like, there's a huge bumblebee flying right at me right at this moment. You might even come on camera. Wow. That was wild. But anyway, where are they at? And then, you know, what was really the point in the Cordova signing? You know, like, was it just to fill that roster spot? Like, give a little depth in the forward line? Because he's mainly come on primarily as a sub so far. And then in the minutes we've seen him, we're just kind of like, I don't know what his position is. I don't know what his strengths are. I don't know what – oh, he almost flew in front of the camera. I don't know it's just kind of like, again, it's this wonder of disconnect between are these the manager's players or are these the higher-ups players? And if there's the higher-ups players, why? Like, why? Why would we not be consulting with a manager who's making on-field decisions, game-time decisions on what players – he finds in his system? And if he did choose those players, then why aren't they playing? Is it they aren't good in training? Like, was there no discussion on that? It's just, you're right. There's a lot of concern when it comes to that. And I remember talking with Chris Gephardt, our buddy, and he brought up a good point. He's like, as a season ticket holder, I want to be entertained when I go to these games. If you're asking me to pay a lot of money to go there, you need to provide me some sort of entertainment, whether it's the style of play, who's out there playing. And I think that's where it's getting a little frustrating with, City fans, is we're seeing what seems to be the new MLS model is go get you some nice shiny toys and they will perform sort of on the field. Sargent I saw he had a goal for Toronto. Messi's still scoring for Miami in their brand new stadium that's going to be empty in a couple years. That's crazy, unless they keep finding new rules to bring over whoever they want, because Miami can do that. But like, I mean, you look at the LAs, and while I know the Galaxy aren't, but they're still drawing because they bring in some names, and especially LAFC. It's just, at some point we got to
mention him. Say his name. Say his name. Do it.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't have like that as like postered in your background as team of the match day, man of the match day, Denny Bouanga, like as your thing. Like, although I don't know who's your new guy, Son or Denny Bouanga. You were smitten over both of them whenever they came to town. So
I mean, you take your hat trick or you take your 5 assists. Pick your poison there. Like, you can't go wrong.
I'm gonna start checking like LAFC message boards and all that type of stuff, and I better not find you in any of those, or like having a side podcast or something like that. It's just like, just all right, yeah. No wonder you're always quick to sign off when you're like, all right, I gotta go. It's probably you gotta start your next show.
I gotta go moderate my Denny Bouanga fan page, my Denny Bouanga message board.
But just to kind of put a wrap on the game, the kids did come in. I didn't even hear Mekhi Joyner's substitution announcement. I think it was all kind of going on. We saw McSorley come in, but we noticed a shift as far as in the game. It was a lot. It really was open at that point, a lot of back and forths. New York had a couple breaks. Good run, good recovery tackle from McNaughton. Although when he was on the ground and he went to clear, I was like, what a tackle. And then he went to clear and scuffs it. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Like, such a great tackle.
And don't forget Jazzy Roscoe chasing down the breakaway. That was huge. Yes. Berkey making a couple of huge saves. Like, that was, like I said, it did not feel like a deserved point, but give them credit, man. They dug deep and found a chance and a good ball from McNaughton and a McSorley finish, pay the prop bet. I mean, at this point, if you're not betting on him every game, you're losing money. You are burning money. Yeah. Yeah, he's probably
now that he's actually featured and scoring, there's no way DraftKings.
Yeah, you'll never get to bet on him again. Yep.
Just like Apple TV, I keep seeing they still keep putting Joachim Nilsson on as a substitution possibility. Like, he hasn't been here all year. They let go of him last year. He hasn't played for forever. Like, get it together, Apple. But yeah, the kids come on, and I think you do run that risk of, but there were even times where I was seeing Joyner get back defensive duties and putting in, winning a couple tackles and that type of stuff. So yeah, you may leave yourself a little bit more exposed, but if you can keep that defensive shape and that shift, like that brings that excitement. And what do we talk about all the time on the show? Like, put a ball in with pace in a dangerous position. McNaughton does that. McSorley, what a great finish just with the header, keeping it down low and a diving header. But you put it on frame, and I want to give another shout out to Chris Gephardt. He kind of highlighted this on Twitter, is like, when you put it in with frame, if you're that striker and you can just get a foot jump on the defenders, not expecting it, and you get that little bit of separation between you, they were caught a little bit flat-footed, not expecting that ball to come into that position, and that's where you open it up, and that's where you get the goal. So I think they've shown some opportunities. It'll be interesting to see where we go when we go down to Texas for Dallas. What does he still continue to line up and bring the kids on late, or how the shifts there? Where's Teutschert's fitness going to be? As well as last week we saw that Leuven was back in training as well. And I know he's going to have a little bit of time to get the touches, get the fitness and everything up. But just seeing that post that City put up, it kind of gave you a lift of like, okay, we get a little maestro back in the midfield with a work ethic like Edelman or Durkin alongside of him. Maybe we can start opening things up a little bit more and getting things kind of, who knows, with this team. But anything else that you have as far as the New York game before we kind of move on the night?
No, I think that's it. I would love to never see that lineup ever again. Thank you, Johan Demay. Thank you.
Well, I would maybe expect to see it in a week's time when City travel, like we said,
Don't you say
Dallas.
That. Don't you say that.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. Down to Dallas, as they will take on Dallas on Saturday night for that game. Just a couple news things. We haven't really done a lot of news this year. Just a couple things, though, as far as City are concerned before we get into our submissions for the night. One is, we kind of highlighted it earlier on, is, like I said, Celio, non-contact injury in training. So he will be out for the year with that torn ACL. And then the next thing was City got their round of 32 draw. It's set. that'll be taking place Wednesday, April 15th at 7 p.m. as they will take on FC Tulsa in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open. I'm hoping by then we get these kids a little bit more integrated into like regular minutes and then let them truly shine once it comes Open Cup time. You can't, especially Cup time, early rounds, you can't be rolling out like, those same lineups and not playing these kids. So hopefully once that time comes around, we start seeing them. So 2 things announced. Dave's having an earthquake over in his house right now as it's going on. What even is that, Dave?
I don't even know. The microphone's probably picking up the neighbors doing something.
That's awesome. All right. So next we will get into our submissions for the day. We'll kick it off on Facebook with our man Andy Sharoni or My Sharoni. He said, worked hard for a draw. Let's hope more goals on Texas on Saturday. Yeah, let's hope. I would say overall, effort-wise, I don't know. It was slow, like you highlighted in the first half, especially like as far as that, but especially towards the end, I felt like coming out of there with the draw, effort, rewatching it back, maybe more chances than I thought, but it's not going to be good enough if you're looking to make the playoffs this year.
No, it's you gotta. It starts with just defensive pressure, and I thought Saturday that whatever pressure they were trying to put was not connected, and they got to fix that because Dallas. We know that Dallas can score, and if that nutsack Musa scores 2 goals on us, I might have a major problem.
Have you heard anything on how he's doing this year so far?
No.
Are you looking forward to?
What is it? How many toasted raviolis would it take for somebody to just boot him in the face?
Ooh, start putting out ravioli hits.
Yeah, ravioli bounty. Yeah. I'll put out 500 ravioli bounty on Peter Musa.
500. That's, you've heard it here, folks. And that was from the Monday Morning center back, Dave Wyckoff.
I have the cops show up at my door, and I'm trying to put a hit on a MLS player, but pay in toasted ravioli.
It would be funny though, like if they just hold up their phone and they're like, "Is this you?" And then it's like, "I want to put a $500 toasted ravioli bonus if anybody boots him in the face."
Like, no, that's not me. That doesn't even look like me.
No, that's that neighbor over there that I don't like.
That's the other Dave. That's Dave Heck.
That's the other Dave. That's right. Another Dave. David Thompson said, "Hard to complain about a 1-1 tie at New York against New York. I was happy to see the young group come in. It felt a little too late at the 80th minute mark, but hey, they got the goal."
It's not hard to complain about it. It's really easy to complain about it. Super easy to complain about it. We've been doing it for half an hour.
Yeah. I mean, if there's a will, there's a way, Dave. You should know that.
I'm not complaining about the result. I'm complaining about the process. Like, we're not Mike Matheny over here. We don't accept good result, bad process. Like, we want good process, good result.
We don't like the get handled for 80 minutes and then pull one out of our ass.
I'm not a fan.
Extra time.
I'm not a fan. Like that? No, it does not make for an enjoyable watching experience.
City put out a email today for cities and ticket holders that was like, "Let us know your thoughts" or something like that. You should write that in and see if they respond to that. Just being like,
"Oh, it's about to air. I'm about to air the grievances. We're about to have a half." It's got to be an early Festivus airing of the grievances. Festivus? Yeah.
The nice thing is, in a year or so, we'll actually get to grieve our Festivus grievances during the season because it'll be midway through. So we'll have like a halfway grievances airing.
That's true.
And that would be fun.
That's good. That sets up for good content, at least.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't have to be just in the off season.
That one for sure is going to be an in-person recording.
Yeah.
So we'll have to make that for sure.
Yes. We'll decorate for Festivus and get the pole and we'll do everything. The feats of strength.
Yeah. I do laugh at the fact that they probably have your email just like blocked on a flagged list or something like that. Like, don't open that. Burners. It's just this one. It's just one guy.
I've got burners.
Finding us. Yeah.
Yeah.
St. Louis City SC fan on Twitter said, "If you were the owner of City, what would you need to see from this team to heavily invest in the roster this summer? Realistically, this summer doesn't feel like it will be the right time for a significant investment most fans are expecting. If I'm the owner of City, what would it need to see this team heavily invest? The results that we keep seeing, the play that we keep seeing, the the continuation of seeing less and less fans within the stadium. I think we're already starting to see that type of stuff. I know in ownership, and again, it's easy spending somebody else's money, but I think ownership is also looking at, we're going to see how this plays out with the new Ray Way or whatever you want to call it of, investment and who. But if the Ray Way is also not sitting on the bench the entire time, like, Falls or, Cordova, it's also like, well, what even was the point of us giving that person money just to take up City 2 minutes and sit on the bench? Like, I think we're on what, year 3 of this quote unquote rebuild. Like, at some point, I think you have to realize we've hit that point of I've seen what I've seen. Now we just have to go the route of trying to invest big.
So invest big, are we just assuming that you want to go out and get multiple higher salary players? Is that what we assume that invest big means?
No, I would say I think you got an investment in Hartle. They've already invested in Berkey, whether we thought that was the right idea for the MLS model or not. I feel like you have to go get a proven goal scorer, not this hidden gem that we think is going to. I think at this point, you got to go get a proven goal scorer. And then, man, you got to get somebody that's going to entertain. If that's that goal scorer, then that's who it can be. I feel like Celio has that possibility of being the entertainer player, just inconsistency with performance as well as being available, not to any fault of his own, but he had the big ankle injury and now the ACL. He's going to be missing a lot of time.
Yeah.
I feel like you need, if that goal scorer can be your goal scorer / entertainer who puts names on the back of jerseys but gets you results as well, that's where your investment can go. But you need to start to get somebody that's just going to put the ball consistently in the back.
You're talking about a significant increase in roster investment.
I would
basically
say.
Somewhere. Okay.
Well,
the only way that I see that happens is if you start to see a couple of these homegrowns turn into superstars over the next couple of months. I'm talking about Makai Joyner gets in the starting lineup and takes off like a friggin' rocket ship. I'm talking about Cordova finally gets his feet underneath him and puts in, 12 goals by like July or whatever. If you can prove, and that would also be assuming that Leuven comes back and is himself. So he's, the ball's all over the park. He's finding feet, he's finding heads, he's creating chances, and Marcel Hartle's doing his thing. So if there was a giant leap forward that involved one or two of the younger players and then one or two of your DPs, then I could see ownership looking at the playoffs, looking at the stretch run and saying, hey, we are one proven goal scorer, one proven electrified player from being able to really do some damage in the postseason. Let's open up the pocketbook a little bit. That's the only way I see there being any sort of major investment in the short term.
Long term. I'm not talking short term. I'm talking long term.
Long term, it's not changing anytime soon.
You don't
long
think,
term, there's no incentive for them to go out and overpay for somebody unless it's directly part of what you've already got. So that same group of players, say they have a great 2026 and they have a great early 2027 season, and you said, okay, I've got 3 MLS All-Stars and a handful of real good MLS players. Now, who can I go get to put me over the top? Oh, Christian Benteke wants a new deal. I'm going to go overpay for Christian Benteke because he's a proven MLS goal scorer. Something like that. But at its core, it's going to take a large leap forward in team development and, to be honest, young, inexpensive players playing over their heads. Because that's the only way that it's going to be cost feasible. If you're not paying some of these guys and they're producing a lot, well, you can go out and pay somebody market value to actually produce what they're expected to.
Yeah, but we're not seeing those homegrowns really.
No.
And then I don't think this year, I don't think anything's going to change. I don't even care about the midseason transfer window. I just don't see them being like this is now we're going to go get our guy or whatever.
No.
I just don't see that. Like you said, I think as far as next year, I would be really curious to know, what do they emphasize more? Ownership. Do they emphasize results on the field and where they think they could be successful, or are they emphasizing season tickets and who's selling? And that, hey, we still sold season tickets. Like, we don't need to go crazy. We're still putting butts in seats. But I would also love to know, with either the re-ups or the new people that joined, how many of those were the 3-year deals, or how many people just went to a single-year deal now, like after that? I saw, and then even a lot of people who were locked in, I saw a lot of people at the beginning of this year, after the first couple of results, being like, yeah, we're not going to make the rest of the season. Who wants our tickets? And I think that is where I want to know, like, is that what is going to shock them more? Or is it just the continue? Are they fine as long as they put people in seats, the stuff that they're putting on the field? Because then that's a worry that they're fine as long as the seats are filled.
I mean,
But I think
long-term success is more sustainable than some sort of short-term flash in the pan. Like, they spent $250 million just to get the rights to a team. They've got a huge investment that they have to make up for. What's the best way to recoup that investment? It's to build a long-term, sustainable model of success. And that's on the field success. That's not, hey, we're going to keep bumping our season ticket prices up 7%, just assume that people are going to keep coming if we have a fringe playoff team every year.
Right. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, kind of, especially after this year. I'm hoping at the end of this year, we're like, wow, they really turn it around. And they are just missing that one or two piece, player to then make them a real competitive team. But we're not seeing that excitement as of yet. We're still just like, oh, we're sitting there. I mean, beginning of this episode, we were saying, boy, smash and grab. And the whole night we were like, yeah, thank God we got out of there with something, because, I really hate to see what it would have been like had they, not pulled something out as far as that goes. We'll make our way to Instagram. The RSL Bros said collab episode. So it looks like they are a Real Salt Lake. I'm assuming they're a podcast, but I would be totally down. I would actually, hell, I do it every week where I talk to somebody who supports teams that I don't like. So I think I could do it with somebody else as far as within the MLS. I think that would be fun. I think it would
collabo with Chicho disciples. So I'm going to need them to renounce Chicho Arango. Or didn't, yeah. I know, but I'm going to need them to denounce him, renounce him, excommunicate him officially from the RSL archives, and then maybe I'll consider it.
Yeah. And then I think they'd have to be understanding that I will refer to Diego Luna as a meatball.
Yeah. It's probably not going to work.
I mean, they're very small stipulations, but we were very open.
Yeah.
They could, I don't even know what they would pick on for us other than results, but
that's kind of where it starts and ends.
Yeah, I guess. That sounds like a fair trade. You make fun of us for being in 12th in the West, and I get to call Diego Luna meatball, and you have to denounce Chicho. I think that's a very, very fair
it's
deal,
even trade-off. Yep.
Yes, guys, we are open to that. As anybody, we would love to collab with anybody. City refs came in and they said, "Why haven't we seen Dave at the games?" Now, I don't know a lot of Daves on this show, both
we know who
family,
they're talking about.
Listeners. We assume, they're talking about DH there, because you will be at the games occasionally. You haven't been able to make it to the south end as far as our seats just yet, but you will be there whenever.
Yeah, I'll be there at least 10 times this year. I've been there once. I'll be there at least 9 more times.
Yeah, exactly. And then as far as DH goes, I'm pretty sure I'm speaking correct. I don't believe he re-upped his season tickets. I think he made it to one game last year. Just obviously with his schedule being so busy and stuff like that, I don't think city games were really easily accessible to him. So I think unless he decides on a one-off game, that's probably why you haven't seen him at the games. I'm assuming, again, it's DH there. But from my understanding, I don't think he re-upped his season tickets as far as that goes. So that's why you haven't seen him there. Next, we'll go to Ryan Cadlick with some Cadlick Combat. He's coming in from. He had this one last week, and I said, I think this is a good one for you because you hate a lot of people as far as opposing fan bases and have your opinions on them, and so I think this is a good Cadlick's Combat for you. He said, same question from the people. Wait, same question from when the People's host was missing. All right, Cadlick, come on, man. Like I first off, I do want to apologize to all the Cadlicks and the Gorskys that, you know, for my solo episode, I guess I should learn if the Monday morning center back isn't there, don't even bother trying, just leave it alone and, you know, wait until, because that's what gets the people listening. But anyway, he said, eliminate a city's sports team and all their history. Each city has multiple teams. This one is complicated. The winner won't necessarily be the city you like the most or hate the least. Example being, do you eliminate the Chicago sports team so the Blackhawks have no cups, or the Chicago Cubs don't win the series for 100 years? So the cities that he has on here is Chicago, Boston. What is that?
Oh, is there? It might be a plane. I don't know, man. Just move past it.
All right. I can't move past it because I can't hear. All right, Chicago, Boston. We've got San Francisco, Los Angeles, Dallas, Washington, D.C., Pittsburgh, New York City. He said, I'll probably do the same topic next week. So when I was trying to, like, feel him out because, like I said, it's not – it's kind of like a how do you approach this? Because, yeah, you could say I eliminate the Chicagos, but then there's something about, like, you lose that rivalry, and I think you enjoy that sort of rivalry as far as that type of stuff goes. But there's also times where you know, like I said, you want to get rid of all those Blackhawks Stanley Cups and like that type of stuff. Like, so it is kind of tough. Like, so we'll just break it down in the the bracket order like normal. So we've got Chicago against New York City.
That's the first matchup?
That's
What?
the first matchup. That's a so that's 1-8. Again,
Who's 8?
New York City.
Who's the 2? How is that
Boston.
not 1-2? Well, okay. Well, New York not being okay. Just move past it.
So who would you eliminate?
God. Okay.
It's tough
So
because there's something
one
about
part-
having
yeah.
that Chicago always attached to us, like as a rival.
yeah, I'm not even
New York
thinking
fans are
about
terrible.
rivalry stuff. Like I'm thinking about like, and you didn't bring this up, but like if you eliminate Chicago, yeah, you get the Cubs being back, their fans being their miserable selves. Same thing for the Blackhawks, but you also don't get Michael Jordan, and that deprives everybody of everything. And like if you do New York, like yeah, you wipe out the Mets, you wipe out the Knicks, but then you wipe out the Yankees. This is the most dominant franchise in the history of American sports.
I am fine with that. I don't care.
But then you got no
I
Babe
would-
Ruth, you got no Luke Gehrig, you got no Joe DiMaggio, you got no Yogi Berra.
Yeah, I really missed watching those guys.
That's not the point.
It's my point.
Oh, God.
I'm keeping Chicago in this one, weirdly enough, but I just don't. New York fans are terrible, and they just the way they carry it. Like the Knicks haven't won anything, but every year they're like, we're the draw of the NBA, and it's just
I don't think
doesn't
they
make any
think that
sense.
though. I think the Knicks fans
They
are.
do.
I think the Knicks
do.
fans are a lot like the Jets fans. Like they've got this super deep history of choking and failure, and all they want to do is win. And they know that they're not going to do it. They know that they're going to get to the altar and get ditched by the runaway bride. Like that's what's going to happen. I don't know, man. This is tough.
Are you fine with there being no contest between LeBron and Jordan? You're just fine with LeBron being the considered the greatest? You can't be fine
Oh
with that.
man, I don't know. New York also has like 400 teams, so you're wiping out like half of sports history if you wipe out New York.
This is true.
I just don't know.
Yeah, what do they got?
I think just
They
out of
got two
spite, you
MLS
know what?
teams.
This is complete spite. Eat it, Cubs and Blackhawks. You don't have any history anymore. You've never won a World Series. You're gone.
Getting rid of.
LeBron's the
All right.
GOAT. Deal with it.
Oh God, no! Don't ever say that. Plays for the Lakers, and I'm a Laker fan, and I can't. I still have LeBron as third on my all-time list.
This whole
All right,
thing
we've
is
got-
under protest because there's no way that should have been a first-round matchup.
They're
It
gonna
should have
have to
been
meet
like it should have been
They're
like
gonna have to-
Chicago and Cleveland or
They're
something
gonna
like
have to
that.
meet
Like,
at some. They're gonna have to meet at some point anyway.
but at least in the championship, it's like Arizona and Michigan not playing for the national championship tonight. Like, oh, Michigan and UConn, like, suck it, Danny Hurley. I hope you
Okay,
get
do
beat
you
by
want to just
40.
go? Do you want to go through all the teams and just pick which one you are cities? And pick which
No,
one you'd
it's
rather
Cadillac
keep?
combat. It's fine. It is what it is.
All right, so we've got Boston against Pittsburgh.
Oh, get rid of Boston. Goodbye, Patriots, Red Sox. See ya.
Yeah, we'll probably got to be the worst fans in. I mean, Philly's close, but they've got to be up there as far as the worst fans in all of sports. Just
Pittsburgh just doesn't have any history to wipe out, so I don't know how you'd be able to tell the difference, other than the Steelers and the Penguins, I guess.
Steelers.
Yeah. So basically, just the
Teams.
Pirates.
Yeah, just get rid of the Pirates. What do you mean? No history. They don't have it. All right, San Francisco and Washington, D.C. I don't really have any.
Dude, I
don't-
hate Kyle Shanahan. So, yeah. But I also really like Steve Young and Joe Montana. And then you got Steph. All right, we got to get rid of DC. Yeah, DC
Yeah,
is
I'm
going.
gonna say I'm keeping San Fran on that one. I mean, outside of the Commanders, like, is there really a big history in Washington? Well, the Capitals, I guess, had a couple years with.
Yeah, you got
Ovechkin.
Ovechkin. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm still good with it. And then L.A. and Dallas.
See ya, Lakers.
You can't get rid of L.A.
I just did. And it's not because of the Lakers, it's because of the Dodgers.
I get the Dodgers now, but the Dodgers in the past weren't that way. But man, all L.A.
Gone.
That's a lot. You were just sitting there talking about history. You're
Lakers
bragging about
and
your
Clippers.
history and all
See
that
ya.
type of stuff. The Clippers have been gone.
Magic who?
I don't. Oh,
That's my buddy.
You're getting rid of like half the MLS's
Oh,
championships right there.
Denny Belonga. See, that's how committed I am
Yeah.
to this. Is
You didn't
Denny's
think about
gone.
that.
Nothing. No goals for you.
Wow. You know what? I would protest you harder on that, especially having family that are all LA fans. But
Can I revisit
that
this? Okay, you said Dallas. I have to get rid of Cowboys fans. I'm switching.
Yeah.
You said Dallas. I got to get rid of the Cowboys. Goodbye, Jerry.
Yeah.
Sorry. That was a mistake. Can I get rid of both?
I agree that was a mistake on your part. Yeah. As far as like Dallas Cowboy fans are like,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the whole nation roots every week when they lose. Like,
Yes.
what other team is like that? There's not. I mean, that has that sort of draw and attention power. All right, so we have looks like New York City taking on San Francisco. Who are you getting rid of there? You still in love with the Babe and the whole Yankees lineup? Do you have any really admiration for any other of the New York franchises outside of the
I
Yankees?
like the Knicks.
I mean, the Knicks had a couple of years.
You
but
get the Rangers
you
and the
also
Islanders, too.
Do you also consider like the Brooklyn Nets? Do you consider them New York, or do you?
Yeah, I don't know, because the franchise you always look at the Dodgers because the franchise is they're in LA now, so I don't know. I guess who was it? New York and who?
San Francisco.
New York and San Francisco. God, I can't get rid of Steph Curry, but I hate Kyle Shanahan so much. Oh God. No, I'll keep
know you
San.
had that
I'll keep.
sort of-
I'll keep San Fran.
Keeping San Fran. All that talk for New York against Chicago, and then you let that
Well,
should be the
I mean,
championship final.
Again,
and then you,
that should have been the championship final, and then it would. Yeah.
You eliminate them in round 2. That's hilarious. All right, so we have Pittsburgh against LA. I feel like we're keeping Pittsburgh.
But what
After that whole
Mario Lemieux and Sidney Crosby? What is the point of this damn combat? Just to mess with me? Like whose fan bases do I want to suffer more? I have no grievances with Pittsburgh fan bases.
This right here is why I refused to answer it last week. It's because I'm like, I have to save this for him because you want to talk. This right here is where the grievance episode special.
Yeah.
This is where like the Cadlick combat should have saved for that one.
So it's Pittsburgh and who?
Pittsburgh and LA.
Oh, God. Okay. Whose fan base do I want to suffer more? Who does the sports world suffer more by losing? And I have to balance that. Uh, Man, I am
If you're going that route, I would say San Francisco's probably suffered more.
no. I mean,
Yeah, they had
who do I want to suffer more because they have no success and no history? So do I want the sports world at large to hurt because they don't have the Lakers, or would I rather have the Lakers fans hurt? That's the question here.
Why are you taking just a shot at me on the Laker fan thing?
No, I
Outside
mean,
of outside of the 49ers and Golden State, who am I missing? Is there Giants? Giants
yeah,
for baseball.
yeah,
That's it, right?
yeah.
No hockey.
I'll take the altruistic approach here, and we'll keep the Dodgers around. I guess we'll keep LA around.
All right, so we've got the battle of the California teams right now as we've got San Francisco
San
and
Francisco
LA.
and LA. Yeah, that's good, man. That's tough. It's really tough. It's really tough.
See, this is almost like Femni level of you're gonna
Yeah,
be sitting around thinking about
yeah.
this one later every time you watch a game.
I just
You're gonna
okay.
be like
Here's
first
my
first time a fan says anything or does anything, you're gonna be like, I should
yeah.
have eliminated those
So
bastards. I hate
so
them.
here's my final answer. Okay, the answer for me is San Francisco, and the reason is because the LA teams have largely gotten their success not organically, not because they're better at developing or trading or whatever, but because they've always thrown obscene amounts of money at superstar players. Whereas the San Francisco teams, especially you look at like Golden State and you look at the Giants when they had their 3 World Series in 5 years, that was self-built, not money reliant, like just quality, sustainable franchises. And seemingly very realistic and humble, dedicated fan bases, as opposed to LA, where you could show up to a game in the 4th inning and it's totally acceptable.
Yeah. No, I will agree with you on that breakdown of that. So it is San Francisco surviving the Monday Morning Cinematic Zombie Land. Congratulations, you guys.
And my reasoning was all over the map on that, so that may have been my worst Cadillac combat ever. Like I just flip flopped incredibly. Like
It was very funny to me to watch you like die, wanting to die on a hill, and then within the next round,
immediately,
like,
yeah.
you're
That
not-
was
I don't know.
that was LeBron level flip flopping, is what that
Yeah,
was.
that exactly
Yeah.
what that was.
Yeah.
That was the decision. You built us all up,
That
and
was-
we didn't know where you were going.
That
with
was
that.
my decision, and I made the wrong choice. I
Yes.
ultimately made the
You
wrong
gotta
choice.
you got to live with that forever.
That's all right. I'll go
All right,
back
we'll
to
move on.
Cleveland someday.
Yeah, exactly. God. Alan Anani says, thoughts on the game versus New York FC. Defensively, we were solid and allowed a few chances. If it wasn't for Berkey, we would have lost the game. Offensively, we are still waiting for many players to get in the box and just hope for a lucky bounce. Now we have 3 shots that should have been on frame, and maybe one on the far post would have made it in if it had more power behind it. Finally, let's start subbing earlier rather than later, as McSorley and Joyner definitely make an impact. Yeah, I think like I said, there were a few chances on the night, a couple pretty clear chances. I think Toychert had a run through the box pretty wide open and just pulled it way left. Pulvara had that like side volley that just kept high. I know those are super tough to take and keep low as it is, but you know, that much space, you're really emphasizing that as a chance. Hartle had a couple shots on the goal that just didn't have enough power behind it. So there were a couple chances there. Just like you said, we're getting these like half chances that you hope for a bounce or you hope somebody finds themselves wide up in the box. I couldn't really think of many chances outside from the goal where we really like worked one around and got ourselves, and you looked and you were going, wow, that was a good goal, or wow, that was a good chance. It was kind of like, oh, I can't believe Toychert's that wide open and he pulled it, or how was Pavara on that spot? And that's where I think we're really still struggling offensively, is we're not creating a lot of these big chances. They're just kind of falling to us, and if they're falling to us, you have to be putting them away.
Yeah, I don't know where 1.4 xG came from. That's about as typical of like how the throwaway accumulative xG scores are useless to us.
Yeah, exactly.
But half chances aren't going to get it done because you're asking for the spectacular on a regular basis just to keep you in games. No, that's no good. You need consistent, real high danger chances if you're ever going to actually compete.
Yeah, no, definitely agree on that. Next, we'll go to our man KVK Kyle from No Goal Patrol. He said, "Happy Easter. What candy do you look forward to being in your family's Easter baskets? And do you have any traditional dishes for Easter brunch, lunch, or dinner?" I mean, anything and everything in my kids' Easter baskets, and that's the real problem. Outside of like, I don't care what flavor you think you're trying to manipulate them into, Peeps all taste the same, and it's just absolute garbage. Like they had some tropical ones that my kids got, and it was just like, this is just still, you can't even call it sugar. It's just like you can't call it a marshmallow. And my youngest, Lakeland, comes up to me. She's eating it, and she's like, "I eat marshmallow." I'm like, "Yeah, that's disgusting." And I like, thank God you're eating it because it's either that or the trash. But like, pretty much, I'm like Dave. Again, I've said it many times. Sweet tooth. So for me, Easter is just a nightmare as far as like not overdoing it. But
Yeah,
like I
bad.
said, Cadbury's, Reese's. Those are kind of, Reese's are always around year round, but Cadbury's is like that Easter candy. I do agree with Dave. Like the specialized jelly beans, it seems like they come around only around Easter, whether it's the sweet tarts or Starburst or whatever.
Problems.
Like,
Yep.
like he said, they're just handfuls at a time, and you don't even realize. And then all of a sudden, you're shaking an empty bag. Going,
Yeah.
good
It's
Lord.
a family size bag. Yeah.
But as far as like dishes, I think if somebody in the family doesn't make deviled eggs, then somebody's getting swung on.
Absolutely.
Like, deviled eggs are a must.
That's-
at anything.
yeah.
We were actually talking about this. Like, as I've gotten older, you start to find like different recipes of how to like spice up your, like jalapenos in your deviled eggs. Or still to this day, one of my favorite is there's a spot in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. It's called Local Goat. It's like they literally bring in local produce every morning. Like it's always fresh. They claim there's no freezers and all that type of stuff. But on their appetizers, they had these deep fried deviled eggs with like a little candied jalapeno on top. Oh my God. Like I'm willing to make the 8 drive just to go back and have those. But for me, deviled eggs, kind of like the Starburst jelly beans, like
Handfuls of deviled eggs. Yeah.
I found myself like popping a few in my mouth while waiting in the line to get the rest of the food, and then having to go back to the deviled egg tray to add a few more.
What's the acceptable amount of deviled eggs on your Easter plate? This is a big thing because there's only so many to go around.
So gauging the amount that is brought is an important factor.
It is.
You gotta, and this is why I always politely let everybody else grab their plate first, because after then it's you've had your chance.
You go in and
You
load
cannot.
up.
You cannot say that I did not leave the deviled egg. You had your chance.
So what if everybody's waiting to go last, though? Assuming everyone else has that strategy, what did you have to go first? Like it's you, Kristen, and then the girls, and you have to go first.
I think then we have our own little in-house Cadless combat, and I impose my superiority physically. No, I think I typically keep it to like 4, 2 eggs, 2 full eggs, and then just hope that when I make my way back around,
There are more.
like
Yeah.
I said, this time my strategy was, I think I popped 2 just waiting in the line, and then circled back around. So when I made my way to the table, I only had 4 on my plate, and it didn't look like I was just like, Jesus, look at him, he took all the eggs. I only got, so that's the strategy.
You just exposed yourself, though. So now, next Easter, that's what everybody's going to be looking for. The answer is 3. The only acceptable answer is 3. You get no more than 3 the first time through. And then if there are any left, then you can go back and gauge how many more, like, if there's only a handful to be distributed out, then you have to be a gentleman about it. Maybe you split one of them in half. I don't know. The acceptable answer is 3.
I think from now on, while I'm busy hiding the kids' Easter eggs, I'm going to be hiding deviled eggs just around the house in my own little
fine.
area that I can
That's
pop
fine.
onto. And I did see one thing where like parents wanted to keep up the tradition for hiding Easter eggs for their kids, but rather than eggs, they put out like 6 packs of
Yeah,
beers, and they
the
gave them the
little or the
thing, and they
little
had to go
shots.
find that.
Yeah, the little
Yes,
shots. Yeah.
yeah. So
Two quick two quick deviled egg recipes, flavor combos you need to try if you haven't already. Frank's Red Hot
yes,
in the deviled egg, that is super strong, and then pickle relish, also super
yep,
strong. Yep,
yep. We do the
real
pickle
basic,
relish in
but
ours, just
yeah.
mix it in with there. I wonder, get your thoughts on this. Do you think a little sprinkling of shredded cheese over the top, melted on top of
Oh
the
yeah,
deviled egg, would be a
yeah,
solid play?
absolutely. Maybe a little bacon. Yeah, 100%.
Maybe that's where the next Catholics comment is just
Deviled eggs.
accessories to the deviled egg. We'll rake them out from there. Yeah.
That seems really specific.
Oh boy, I would hate that challenge. I hope
Yeah,
somebody doesn't
I got to
put it.
decide like entire fan bases that you want me to eliminate. Like
I tell you this much. Yeah, if you want to bring that challenge, I will need said plate of deviled eggs
we have
presented
to
in
do
front of
like an
me
actual
so I
like
can
taste
then
challenge.
make
Oh,
a
that's good.
responsible decision.
That's awesome. Yes, yes, yes. That's awesome.
Sounds like when we get back in the studio.
Yeah, that's a live. That's an in person.
That's a live one. Man.
Yep.
I got 2 here from our man Colton Cook or Fetlord Colton on my end as far as the last ones I have. First one, he said, you could pick any Disney character to take your place and be on Survivor. If they win, you win the $1 million. Who are you picking? None of them can have their powers. They're just all survival skills. Whew, boy. That's a lot of characters.
Aladdin.
Why Aladdin?
Dude, do you not remember that movie? How he was like homeless, living on the streets of
Street
Agrabah,
rat?
like
Yeah.
having to like steal for food, steal to live. He's like swinging from like palace to palace, like going through the bazaar. Like that's your guy. He's getting it
Yeah.
done.
It's a good shout. I'm almost trying to think of like any robotic Disney characters that just don't need food or shelter. Or like,
So you're
and they
cheating.
just can.
You're cheating, is what you're doing.
They said any Disney character, they just couldn't have powers. Put little Wally out there just rolling around. He doesn't need anything. He's just chilling. Same with. I was trying to think about like the Toy Story characters where they could just like lay there at all points and just.
They're
But
just
then the thing
destroying
is,
the spirit of
I
this
haven't-
question.
Well, I think you might be right on it because the thing that I'm not thinking about, if I've never watched like a full season of Survivor or anything like that, but there's challenges, so you have to participate in those challenges. Aladdin's athletic, like you said, he's lived that sort of like. What about like Mowgli from Jungle Book?
Yeah,
He's
that'd be
lived
that's
in the
perfect.
jungle.
That's a perfect answer.
I think Mowgli would be my choice
Yeah.
in there. He's already pretty much lived there, and
Yep.
then he's raised by wolves. So yeah,
Perfect
I'll go with
answer.
that. I pulled that one out of nowhere. But
That was
I'll
good
take it.
stuff. That was good stuff.
Yes.
I also would have accepted Hercules because Hercules is a mortal that's just very strong.
Oh, you don't consider those godlike powers?
No, he's immortal.
Yeah. But does strength really benefit you much in the Survivor games?
Yeah, when you can just like, yeah, absolutely. See, and he's not, and he's basically like a god, but he's not. He's immortal with like godlike qualities.
Yeah, because I was gonna say like Maui, he pretty much lives on an ocean or island, but he
it'd
relies
be
on those
good,
powers,
yeah.
and he is God. He's godlike, so he would
It's
need
like
powers.
it's
to
like
be
if you wanted to
himself.
pick Hercules, it's like picking Eric Cole with functioning knees.
Boy,
I'm
I
not
haven't
wrong.
felt
That's a straight. I mean, I'm not wrong.
I haven't felt function. I'm just laughing at I haven't felt functioning knees since I was a kid. So boy, I couldn't even tell you how he would do back then because that Eric Cole. I've never experienced muscles with functioning knees, so I wouldn't know what it would even be like.
It's something, man. It would be something.
Yeah, I want to know what other. I'm sure somebody's going to pull one out that we're sitting there going like, oh, duh, yeah.
Yeah.
look at
Oh
me
yeah.
thinking that one.
We're
There's so
idiots.
many.
We're morons. Absolutely.
So many but there's so many characters to choose from. And then the last one I have on my end, and this is going to be a good one. He said, "What is the better restaurant bread?" So we've got Olive Garden breadsticks, Texas Roadhouse rolls or Red Lobster cheddar biscuits.
This is not hard. This is not hard. This is don't overthink it. It's the cheddar
biscuits. Say it at the
biscuits.
same time. Oh, you're wrong. You're wrong.
How? There's no. Okay.
Because
I feel like you're doing this to troll me.
You can get very bad batches of cheddar biscuits. I feel like the rolls at Texas Roadhouse, even though I haven't been there a lot, you can't really mess up too much that buttered roll.
But it's
Plus
not
you
the
add in a
roll.
little bit.
It's not the roll. It's the butter that
But
you're
the butter's already
addicted
put
to.
on top of it. Those things come out glossy, baby.
No, it's not the roll you're addicted to. It's the butter. If you put that butter on anything, you put that butter on a piece of burnt, like leathery bacon.
No, I'm not even talking about the specialized butter that they have. I'm talking about the roll coming out just in the basket. That butter.
It's like a Hawaiian sweet roll.
And if you, oh God, yeah, those are terrible. I hate.
They're not as good as cheddar biscuits. And who in let me check you here. That is pure poppycock that you said that you have had a bad batch of cheddar biscuits before.
I have.
How were they bad?
Have you not been to that Fairview?
It's been a minute, but how were they bad?
Very dry, just too crumbly, like literally like the biscuit to where you need to wash it down with like.
So they were overcooked.
Sure.
That's not the biscuit's fault. Give me a master.
You're more
biscuit.
Consistent though. I feel like I'm not. Look, I'm just so glad that you didn't say Olive Garden's breadsticks.
Oh yeah.
I was willing to be like fine on either one of those two options, but I felt like if you would have came out, especially over the years, it's one of my wife's favorite places to go is Olive Garden, and I just don't care for it. We'll say
I'm not a serial killer. I'm not gonna pick.
I was nervous
breadsticks.
Even saying that because every time I say a food option on here, so I'm offending a large community. So I'm just gonna say Olive Garden's not really my place. But the one thing I remember back in the day that I was like, oh, the breadsticks at least carried it. They're just very, very.
Yeah.
I don't know if they changed them or what, but they have gone way downhill.
Yeah,
so
they were never that good. It was all lore and myth.
Now, have you ever tried to? I know they make them, or they used to do them in home ec at my high school. I never took home ec in my high school, but they used to try and replicate the cheddar biscuits.
I've seen them like the mix before, but I've never tried to I've never tried to replicate them. No.
I feel like that would be, for sure, on my end, a bad batch. Like, I wouldn't be able to
You're never gonna be able to recreate that magic of what was Red Lobster, and someday those will be gone, and you'll be sad. Yeah, You'll be sad someday.
I'll find a way to.
You'll eat your fillings with the honey butter and the Texas Roadhouse bread. Yeah, you will.
Yeah. Gladly. I will.
And I'm not knocking those. I just don't. I think there's levels to the bread game, and cheddar biscuits they're on a different level. It's like John Jones level.
I remember. Didn't they talk about taking them off the menu or something like that, like years and years ago, and then people uproared? So
there were riots. Yeah, I remember the riot. I remember the great Red Lobster riot of '93.
You remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah. I think when people started, rioting over
burned a bunch of restaurants to the ground. Yeah, I remember that.
Rival restaurants that
Yeah. No, burnt Red Lobsters to the ground.
Oh yeah, they went that way. Yeah, just in dispute. Yeah, I think when you have that sort of power, then I'll give you the.
Yeah. Everybody remembers the Red Lobster riots. Yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty.
It was intense.
There's going to be my kid one day is going to bring home their history book. Those are going to be in there. And
Red Lobster riots.
I'm going to be like, I was there for those.
1993, baseball strike, Red Lobster riots, right there.
Bad year.
Yeah,
Bad
tough year.
93. Yeah. Well, any on your end that you want to have
no,
throw in there before we wrap it up?
No,
tonight?
we're good to go. I think we've exhausted the submissions for this week.
I will say, thank God it's dinner time, and hopefully things are cooking.
I'm going to Red Lobster
because there's been a lot of food talk on this one, a lot of delicious food talk, and so it is making me hungry. But thank you once again, as always, for all the submissions sent in to our socials. We do appreciate it. It makes the show a lot of fun, especially when we have to talk about not as fun of games as, again, City drew 1-1 against New York City FC. They will look to bounce back as they take on Dallas this Saturday, and we will be there to talk about that one. But in the meantime, keep sending in those South End submissions. Again, you can send them in anytime, and you can send them into all our socials on Instagram or South End Supporters. Our Twitter and our Reddit is capital SES_podcast STL. Make sure you're also following us on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube. That way you keep up with all things South End Supporters. And if you want to keep up with us on Instagram, you can follow us on our personals. I'm ecole_15, and he is the 204icle. So for myself, Eric Cole, for the Monday Morning Center back, Dave Wyckoff, you've been listening to South End Supporters. And until next week, let's go City.